So I do my makeup for Spooky Sunday and I tell a spooky story. So I'm going to tell you about the legend of the Black Hope Cemetery. Now this takes place in the early 1980s in a suburb outside of Houston, Texas. But this is like a brand new development basically. So all the houses, this entire neighborhood did not exist before. They built every house in this neighborhood, and these are the first people moving into these homes and buying these homes. So we got Sam and Judith Haney, right? So they bought this house. This was going to be their forever home, right? They planned to stay here for a long time. It did not have a pool and they wanted a pool. So they hired some people to start like digging a pool, and one day they get a knock on the door and there's an elderly man there. And he's like, "Hi, y'all own the house?" And they're like, "Yeah." So he's like, I have to tell you something. I see you guys are putting in a pool, but I need to show you something. So he takes Sam to the backyard and he points to the ground and he's like, "There are graves there. There are people buried there. Therefore, you cannot dig for your pool here because this was a cemetery at one point." The name of the cemetery was Black Hope. And this cemetery was where formerly enslaved African Americans were buried after the Reconstruction era. So after the Civil War, after they were freed, basically. So the free enslaved folks who either were already in Houston or moved to Houston were buried there. This was a Black cemetery. So Sam, at this point, he's like, I don't know what to believe. So he starts to dig anyway. So he gets this thing that's called a backhoe. It's basically this big ass machine that you use to like dig, right? Like the construction people. So he rents one, right? Does not take him long as he's digging before they reach some pine boards. So he hops out of the backhoe and he lifts up he sees this pine board and he lifts it up, and of course underneath there is skeletal remains. Now at this point there's about 25 actual bone fragments, but the rest is pretty much like powder. Mind you, at this time these are people who were formerly enslaved, and at this time it's like back in the day, so they weren't like embalming folks, so the bodies weren't preserved the way that they are now. They went through like the natural I want to say disintegration, but that's not the word I want to use. What is the word? Decomposition. So immediately he stops digging, he stops everything, because at this point he was digging with his hands. So his wife's like, what the fuck? So he's like, call the sheriff and the coroner. She's like, what the fuck? So they get there and they do like an official exhumation, and they find another body in another pine box, and on the ring finger of this skeletal hand are 2 wedding rings.